somehow, Jabba returned. Now we gotta find someone else. That's not believable. That's not good enough. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zetas Prevails. We've got a new Faction Essentials today, folks, and it's about Jabba and Hutt Cartel. It's a pretty interesting faction, and I didn't know whether I should do this for so you unlocked Jabba now what, or if I should call this Faction Essentials, or if I should just try to do the new crash course methodology that I've been doing. And what I've decided was I'd do a little bit of each, except for the so you unlock Jabba. I mean, that's the same info, but anyways, this is a pretty good faction, pretty fun faction to play. One of the most important factions in the game right now, probably the most important. I know people are laughing that I keep saying that, but it's true. It's very good. It's very good. So let's jump into thanking my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for all the support. I truly couldn't do what I do without you guys. Thank you guys so much, for real. And guys, if you like this type of video, if you think that me putting in hours and hours of work to make this one video for you to have one decent team and how to mod them and know how to use them, I would really appreciate a like, a sub, comment, something like that. Maybe all of them, maybe none, but you wish me well. You give me thoughts and prayers. Now, the thoughts and prayers will mount the algorithm as well as anything, folks. I'm sure of it. I am sure. So let's jump into it, guys. This is these tend to be a pretty long form. Like I'm going to be showing you modding. I'm going to be showing you the team comps and a lot of the different special rules and stuff, how they're all kind of tied together. And then I'm going to show you a few videos of how to use Jabba on offense, because we're not just going to be throwing him on defense all the time. That's not in the cards. I mean, he's good on defense, certainly, but he's pretty good on offense as well, as I will show you. So let's get to it, folks. First, let's talk about Zetas and Omicrons. I don't love this slide, but it's what we've got, and I am not redoing it. I am sick to death of making these things tonight. So the bad news is all the Zetas basically are ones you need. You need 10 of them, I think, for the squad, and you can make do without Embo lead because he's not the leader, because that's obvious, but maybe it's not because I entered it there. And I don't know, you guys are lucky that I have so much foresight in telling you that you don't need the Embo lead. But this is the order that I put them in after looking at all the Zetas that Jabba has. I think this is the best. I mean, I hope that you have more than like one at a time to dole out to him, because I'm not totally sure that these are all the very best, but this is the order. As far as Omicrons, Krrsantan's, it's ironic because it says Krrsantan is number 10 on the Zeta list, but you need his Zeta to apply the Omicron. I would say that that's probably the best Omicron, and of course I'm GAC centric, so I do think that that's the biggest bang for your buck, because you use it so much in GAC and it boosts the team by so much. But you have to apply that Zeta, the number 10 Zeta, so I don't know. You guys can reconcile that out. You're smart, I'm sure. Some of you aren't. Others might be. We don't know. I'm certainly not. The Embo one is probably the second best one. The Boushh one, I'm not sure. The raid is not here yet. The crate raid, we'll do videos on that once the crate raid is here. But my guess is that it's going to be a useful Omicron. We'll finally be able to see. I'm not sure. It's not the best. The Skando one, it's territory wars. I would not say it's absolutely necessary. It's decent. It's decent. If you really want to max your team out for territory wars, you can do that. I mean, it won't hurt you, and it will help you. It just, it's okay. It's fine. It's not nearly as impactful as Embo's is. And then the Gamorrean Guard one is for territory battles, and Jabba already destroys all territory battle levels that we know about so far. I don't think we've seen him do phase 6 yet, but otherwise, like 1 through 5, you could just put it on auto, so you don't really need anything more than that. Really just Krrsantan and Embo and call it good, folks. Now, what things does Jabba's kill? I can't talk because I've literally spent you don't know how many hours I spent making this thing, folks. Here's the thing. He basically kills everything. I don't know if he probably would kill. I mean, you take Supreme Leader Kylo in against him, and you lose a lot of times. It's kind of a mess against certain squads. I would guess that you wouldn't do that great against the Eternal Emperor, because he can just zap 2 of your guys and take him away forever. Though you can kill Kenobi, you can't kill Lord Vader. You know, I'd say like just a couple Galactic Legends that I don't have listed here that you don't want to mess with. I would not mess with Briva Lead, and then otherwise it just takes out everything. One of the really cool things you can do if you're trying to mix things up in GAC and you need a Galactic Legend to kill their Malgus, but you don't want to use Supreme Leader Kylo. You have a different use for him. He has a wonderful purpose somewhere out there that doesn't involve slaughtering Malgus teams forever. And so Supreme Leader Kylo can go off and seek his destiny while Jabba kills Malgus. And that's one of the fights I'm going to show you guys, in fact. So he's great on offense. He has really good regeneration, which we're going to basically just gloss over. We're not even going to talk about how good he is on that. But he does take out quite a bit of things if you want to use him for offense, guys. Now, as far as team comps go, really, I mean, one thing that I neglected to show you, and I'm not going to get it out now, but Boba is probably the 5th character that you could add here, because Boba's really good in the mirror match. If you want to take Jabba with the core 4 characters, you can see they're all the same, and then swap out Boba for them if you want to do the mirror match. Otherwise, Gamorrean Guard is probably a little bit better in GAC than Embo, just because he'll help you time your opponent out because he's so thick, and if it's taking you forever to kill Jabba, then, or the other characters on the team, then probably Gamorrean Guard works. But Embo also works pretty well, and I mean, he's not going to stop someone who's already going to beat him, but he's pretty decent. And then Territory Wars, he is the best 5th because you need the Omicron. You can see I don't have it yet. I'm planning on getting it eventually once I ever have any Omicrons available. And honestly, guys, I would just advise, unless you want to spend a lot of money and investment in the squad, which if you do, that's awesome. Feel free to. But if you want to just be pretty efficient, I would just say only work on Embo. Get his Omicron for your guild if your guild is, pretty competitive in Territory Wars, or even, if they're decent at it. And then just ignore Gamorrean Guard. He's marginally better in some circumstances. I don't think you're going to need him, and Gamorrean Guard isn't useful in other team comps. It's just going to be wasted when he's not used. I have a Relic 7 Gamorrean Guard that I just never use. So let's move right along. Now for 5v5 and 3v3, to me this is obvious, but I want to make sure you guys understand. So the real core of this team, after, I showed you the core 4, like Skando is the 4th. Now we'd boil it down even more and make it into Boushh, Krrsantan, and of course Jabba. And then the others you can just kind of, in 3s you don't need as many teams. Well, you need more teams, but you don't need as many characters. So you can kind of just ignore them if you really want to use Skando. I know that this BAM Hondo Skando team was getting a lot of holds last 3v3. I don't know. It's not that difficult of a team to beat. Like, Hondo's pretty strong on his own with the current Datacron set, which we're not talking about Datacrons. Really, we're trying to just operate without them. But this is, this was a decent team if you really, really want to use it. And then at 5v5, of course, you guys know the team. It is a nice team, apparently. Now, one thing I do, before we get into the buffs and stuff, one thing I do want to mention, folks, is Jabba teams benefit more than most if you put relic levels on them. Like, yes, they have good mechanics and everything, but the more relic levels you have, the more survivable you're going to be, and if you put them on defense, the more you're going to time your opponents out. You make them really thick. They're already super survivable, very, very difficult to take out if you put the right modding on them, which I'll show you guys how to do in a minute, if you do all the stuff that you need to, and you put relic levels on them, that team can be very, very difficult to beat. And, you know, of course, if Datacrons just come and cancel the team, there's nothing you can do. But it is a very strong team. It's a stronger team with relics that, like, I wouldn't advise a ton of relics, like, on a Rey team. I mean, sure, they help. And, you know, like, they help even more on, like, a Lord Vader team or a Kenobi team because of all the shared mastery and all the stuff that's going on there. But Jabba, I think, out of all of them, benefits the most from just raw relic levels, just because of how survivable they get and how resilient those characters become. Not to mention they start hitting really crazy hard. They ramp their damage up like crazy, and having those really high base stats from the relics really helps the team quite a bit. Now, here's a lot of the different unique buffs and effects you see floating around. And, you know, I had to take these directly from the game and Photoshop them to be this because so the Wikipedia page just doesn't have them. It just says, like, coming soon, and you can tell that it's been coming soon for like months and months. So I'll let you guys just read this, but this is just kind of a brief summary. This isn't even like it scratches the surface. It tells you the bulk of what these things are, and I'll make this available to my patrons as an infographic, so you guys don't have to take a screenshot with my face in it. But I'll make most of these slides into an infographic available for my patrons. You guys can just sign up for it in the video description. There's a link for it if you want. But one way or another, this is just kind of a quick decoding of where you find them and why they're relevant, because I mean, I'm still confused. I've been using this team forever. I've been killing this team forever, and I'm still just like, I don't know. There's a bunch of green things out there. Just a bunch of green crap. So, all right, let's talk about modding here for a little bit. Now, one thing I've done to kind of give more context, folks, is on the top left corner, you can see the R9. That's with Relic 9 stats. This is stats taken from my characters and showing to you just so you kind of have like a baseline of things you want to shoot for. And Relic 9 is you know, what I have Jabba at. I have Relic 9 on Krrsantan, Relic 8 on Boushh, Relic 7 on Embo, etc. So you guys will see that. That's the context. And these numbers aren't things that you have to get to. They're not like hard fixed. They're just like, in general, like here, if you're around these numbers, that's probably a good sign. Just kind of showing you guys what to look for. So what Jabba really wants, folks, I mean, so you can't even target him until it's time until all of his friends are dead. And one of the things to remember is tenacity really does help him quite a bit, because he gets ability blocked by AoEs. He gets you know, you can steal his turn meters still. Like, you can do all these different effect things to him. So if you can get a bunch of tenacity on him, that actually really helps. And that combines with Krrsantan's ability to reduce potency on everyone that you're fighting. And so, you know, like Krrsantan alongside Jabba here Jabba's gonna have 190% tenacity, which is pretty strong. I mean, you can still apply debuffs, but it's not gonna be super easy. And otherwise, you want a lot of speed. You don't need a ton of speed, frankly. And then you want health everywhere, folks. You don't want to go overboard on tenacity. Like I think that the cross I have, well, what is it? I think the cross is just a health cross. Yeah. So anyways, this is what we've got here for Jabba. And then the two abilities that I posted there just show, like, okay, so here's your health, but then if you apply the Zetas and you do all this stuff, like, you're still, you know, the leadership is going to give you a bunch. Like, you don't only have 159k health, you have you know, hundreds of thousands. It's madness. Krrsantan is another guy. I love him at Relic 9 because he's a tank and he gets a huge relic boost when boost from the relics once he hits 9, because that happens with all the tanks. And yeah, gosh, the reason I paused, I was like, I kind of look like an awkward like tummy tattoo for Krrsantan there. It's just kind of a strange place to be, folks. we don't need to talk about other places I might be. So, anyways, Krrsantan. When I was doing some research, a lot of people were putting health mods on him, like health set. Like, I think that was the predominant set that people use. So feel free to do that if you want. But mostly you want to take advantage of Krrsantan's protection. Like you're going to either, if you have the Embo Omicron or the Krrsantan Omicron, depending on whether it's GAC or Territory Wars, here he's going to get 40% extra protection. And so, he's already, look at how much, at Relic 9, he's almost 200,000 protection, and then he's going to get another 40% on top of that, and then whatever Jabba is giving, like, he is a thick boy. Plus you're getting all this bonus protection, which, I mean, the bonus protection is from Jabba is probably why, or the protection up buffs, whatever, is probably why you want the health sets on him. But I do really like the armor as well. That's really nice. So you guys can do what you want. I like the I know a lot of people don't have a ton of defense sets anyways, but the armor is pretty nice to have there. And yeah, remember he does a lot of work, guys. He's right now Cat mocks him. She just deletes him, but no one else does. He's a very thick boy. Boushh at Relic 8. She's going to be one of your primary damage dealers on this team. And so what I have some pretty good speed on these offense sets. Like, this is 153 speed without adding any without a speed set. So pretty strong. And honestly, I think the ideal here, folks, is not crit chance. It's going to be potency. I'm saying that right here out loud, just so that it kind of screws over people who just, take a screenshot and don't listen to what I'm saying. Haha! I'm being vindictive. And I don't regret it. But having a potency set is that there, instead of crit chance, is probably better, because she's special damage. Special damage you don't get to crit nearly as much anyways, and so you're going to be doing damage based off of your raw offense numbers. Now, I saw a lot of people taking crit damage triangles. I don't know if I love that. I think the ideal would be a crit damage triangle with a really high offense secondary and a high speed secondary. That would be really nice, though. I don't know if Boushh warrants it. She probably does. She starts hitting really hard. Relic 8's kind of her ideal, folks, because once you go from 7 to 8, it's like 1,000 offense if you have them modded the right way, and it's just crazy. She starts hitting so hard, and she assists so many times. I'll show you guys how to do that. The other thing to really keep in mind, though, folks, is trying to keep her health and protection really low if you can, because you want her to be the weakest on the team, so she assists all the time, so that Jabba, when you call him to assist with someone else, then he will in turn call her to assist, and she's going to be just going crazy. But you want her to be the weakest. So if Embo's there, you can make her weaker than Embo if you try hard, if you're a try hard like me. And otherwise, yeah, you want a lot of damage. You can see those are my special offense numbers there. I think that's with an offense triangle. And then I know a lot of people put the potency cross on her, and I just don't see why you need to, especially if you put the potency set on. Like, if I had a potency set instead of the crit chance set, I would have like 175% potency. Like, you don't need higher than that, really, not usually. And you have ways to boost your potency on top of that anyways. This is she has such a high natural potency. I don't see why you should be putting a potency cross on. She needs offense. She needs to hit people hard, guys. Okay, so Skando, that's Skiff Guard Lando, and I put him to Relic 8 kind of recently, and you can see the health and protection just a little bit above what Boushh is at, but you don't need him super fast or anything. The one thing that kind of passed me by for a long time is that he has the assist call that gives a bonus turn to whoever he calls, and that includes Jabba, which is really nice. So you just want a lot of damage for him, and otherwise, I mean, some crit chance is nice because he doesn't have a very high natural crit chance anyways. But then, yeah, I mean, he's pretty simple to mod, folks. And then finally we have Embo, the hat thrower himself. It's one of my favorite animations. I know it's kind of older at this point, but it still checks out. It's a good time. And, I mean, the reason you want him in this squad, it's not for damage, though damage is nice, and this damage, his big hit, is based off of his max protection, so you want to max out that protection, not only because it hits pretty hard, it's also because you need him to be stronger. So if you make Boushh weaker than everyone, that means health plus protection is going to be less than everyone else. So her health added to the protection is going to be less. Embo here wants protection maxed out. So you can see, I think ideally he would want a crit damage, crit chance set, but I didn't have any crit damage or crit chance sets that had an arrow with protection on it. And so I decided to go with a protection arrow from a health set, and that also made him more tanky so that he is just very, very close to being weaker than Boushh anyways. Even though I guess in GAC he's going to be stronger just because Krrsantan's Omicron gives him a boost in protection versus Boushh, but one way or another, guys. I mean, one of the reasons you want him is he dispels on basic and he assists so much, and the other one is because of the hat toss. And get him some crit chance if you want. He has a decent crit chance, natural crit chance. This is only Relic 7 stats. Relic 8 would be nice, but I don't have unlimited resources, folks. Just lots of protection, guys. Lots and lots of protection. There's one of the wonky, like, crit damage protection crosses that you're like, oh yeah, that's actually really good. I'm glad I have that for some reason. Now, when we look at Jabba's abilities, I'll show you guys his abilities like in practice here pretty soon. But when you look at his abilities, he is 3. Besides his ultimate, which we'll talk about in a minute. But so his basic, and these are all like just really diluted, distilled, whatever you want to call it. Like they all do a whole lot. You can go read the whole afternoon away, folks, if you want, or the morning away and read his kit. I would highly recommend it, though. I'm just trying to give you like the really basic, the impactful things. So the basic doesn't do damage. It just calls someone to assist, and if it's his turn, because they can call, like Skando calls him to assist, and he just like bounces it. He's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna have the weakest person do it. So when it's his own turn, he still has someone else do it, but he has someone assist, but then he also dazes them. So that's nice. The second, or the first special, I should say, it's the mass assist. Calls everyone to assist. It cleanses everyone, all the debuffs. So if you're dazed from, I don't know, stupid Jedi Anakin or General Skywalker in Arena dazing you, then he can cleanse everyone. It also gives the buff Hired Muscle, which we'll talk about in a minute. Or wait, did we already talk about the abilities? Yeah, we did. So Hired Muscle, it just gives you the ability to assist more often. And then it cleanses allies, mass assist, yeah. So Crumb's Revenge, the second special that he has, it's the Thermal Detonator AoE. So that's nice, and it automatically sticks. No, it can't be resisted. And it also gives a locked buff immunity, which is really nice. If you don't want someone to be taunting, for instance, you throw it on there, and then you can dispel their taunt, and then they can't get it back because it's a locked buff immunity. And this is the only way that Jabba himself does damage besides his ultimate. This is the only ability where he does something himself. He gets off his fat hindquarters and gets the job. He doesn't really, unless, I mean, he's support. So if he's in Conquest and you give him the right crons or chips, data things, I don't care. I don't like Conquest. You can tell. But if you give him the right things, he just auto-deletes someone, because he does have a pretty high offense, ironically. He just doesn't have a way to wield it other than, just the auto-delete with the Rancor. But this Crumb's Revenge, man. Yay for Crumb. Other things that he does. he ignores taunt. He can target whoever he wants, and that's helpful with the basic, because then you can call your weakest to assist someone and hit someone that is behind a taunt. In PvE, every time he's in a new wave, he revives his allies and buffs them. He does a lot of cool stuff for that. Like, a lot of his functionality is based on these on the waves and stuff in PvE, and he also does give turn meter to his allies if your enemies are gaining turn meter, which is really nice. It's kind of like, well, dang, I'm not fighting someone who's gaining a lot of turn meters, so I don't get that cool boost. But otherwise, yeah, his team, I mean, there's a lot of different like little undercurrents that you guys can pick out from his kit. There's a ton more that he does. We can't get into it, guys. So, how do you get his ultimate? This is a question that I just kind of ignored for a long time. It's just like, oh, hey, it appears by magic. That's what it is. Like, who knows? Who knows the chemistry of it, the physics behind the madness? So, what it really is, though, so when you get the My Kind of Scum buff, which is something that he just gives to his friends, the people, so if they're Hutt Cartel or Smuggler or whatever, if they meet the criteria to get My Kind of Scum, then they have that locked buff for the rest of the match, for the rest of the fight, and when they take a turn, he gets 3% charge. When they use a special ability, he gets another 3% charge. So Boushh taking a turn and throwing her thermal is going to give him a total of 6% charge for that one action. And then when someone else has that same thing, when they kill someone, then he gets 6% charge for killing that person. And finally, when Jabba does a basic, he gets a 6% charge as well. Once you get your contract, which is another aspect to him that we haven't even covered yet, but once you get his contract, then everything is doubled. So you really want to prioritize getting that contract as early as you can, which can be a little tricky, but if I'll show you guys some tricks on how to get it. So other Jabba abilities. So Jabba has a lot of different things just kind of squirreled away in other characters that are vital to him. Like for Boushh, he has these 3 different abilities that are very leadership-ish that still apply even though she's not the lead. For instance, she gives herself extra speed. And if she's with Jabba, you get 20 speed on her and on Skando, which is nice, but no one ever thinks about that. Like, it's just like this random hidden thing, kind of. She also is immune to ability block and stun when she's got, what's his name? Jabba the Awesome in there. Almighty Jabba. And, you guys can read this. I mean, it's just this weird passive stuff that happens that is like, I don't know, it's not all on Jabba's kit, kind of. Like, Boushh isn't going to be used anywhere else but with Jabba, for the most part, unless they change something weird. But, I mean, it might be a really big shock if you took Boushh off of his team, because you're like, wow, I didn't realize how much she just stopped people entirely. It's very interesting, folks. Alright, final slide before we get into the fighting. Here are the ways that Boushh passively assists. So that doesn't mean, like you can call the mass assist from Jabba, and she'll assist there. Or you can call an assist from Skando, and she'll assist there. That's not passive, though. That's targeted assisting. Here, this is just stuff where Boushh is going to be hitting on her own, and this is why she feels like she's timing you out all the time, because she's like throwing 3 grenades at a time, because she has hired muscle, which you get from the second buff, from the second, what is it? Let's see. Yeah, this is the one where he uses his first special, calls the mass assist, gives hired muscle to her, so then whenever someone else does something, she gets to assist. When he does his basic, then she'll be called to assist if she's the weakest. And her own unique, if they have this little thermal detonator thing, then she's Deadly Bluff, she's going to assist anyone who's hitting those people. So, you know, she can passively potentially assist 3 different times in a row. Very interesting stuff, which is why you want to get her as much offense as possible, because she's hitting so much. Now, let's go to the video portion of this, shall we, folks? Let's get going. Okay, so this is against Malgus. Let's see how this goes, folks. Let me make sure the sound is not on this thing. Alright. So this is against an HK Kron with Fear. This was in a GAC I ran the other day. And I'm getting better and better at this team, but I'm still not wonderful. Yeah, there's Savage with his Omicron. Really want to take out HK. You can see that Boushh, yeah, she's assisting quite a bit here. Do the basic, and remember at this point I think Embo was my weakest, so he's assisting as well sometimes. But yeah, you can see Boushh. Did I just call her douche? Yeah, okay, so you wait until all these thermals are here, and her second special just explodes all of those thermals, which is really nice ability to be able to, like, you just get all these thermals out, and yeah, we've got 14 thermals on Savage. Remember, thermals do % health damage, which is really nice. And yeah, okay, so now we got the Rancor. Eat Malgus, and yeah, we're good to go, folks. I mean, we didn't have Malik here. Malik wouldn't have saved them. It would have just stayed inevitable. They can't get through this. So, I mean, kind of a waste on this team, to be honest. But yeah, perfect banners. It's hard to complain about that. Now, let's go to a Kenobi match, which is a little scarier. I recorded this one on my phone, which is why the aspect ratio is a little bit different, but hopefully now you can see the buffs that are over Jabba's head a little bit better as well. And, okay, so they have Foresight here, and so you can do a basic to call, it would call Boushh to assist. If you do the middle ability, then I think that the middle ability is probably the better, because then you give the buff to everyone. So I kind of messed that one up. They have a Datacron that lets Cat go twice. After she kills someone, she takes a bonus turn. And, you know, so Krrsantan will be back this time. I tried to find someone who was, you know, as close to not having a Datacron as possible. But, yeah, okay, so Krrsantan's back. And he just, he does his taunt move, his first special. And alright, call that assist. You guys can see the hired muscle is here, so Boushh is going to assist on everyone here. And you want to get a lot of thermals onto Cat, if possible, here. Because you want to explode Cat. That's like every child's dream, at least every deviant child. They're like, man, how many firecrackers do I need to tie onto this Cat before it explodes? It's a valid question that a ton of, like, kind of awful children have asked for a long time. So, alright, we popped the Savior on Kenobi. One thing to keep in mind, folks, and the last video is really going to accentuate that, because I'm going to show you the Galactic Bounties. Is that what it's called? I don't remember now. But it's the recurring event that we consistently get, and the Smuggler's Run 2 is what it's called, actually. And I'll show you how the role that the thermals play. Like, the ultimate is nice, but in a lot of ways, the thermals do more. Okay, so we finally, Cat finally exploded. We finally exploded GK here, and, you know, it's not the ideal team here, guys. I was just surrounded by a bunch of people who would auto-delete Krrsantan, and I didn't want to show you that part. I wanted to show you how you take on a Kenobi team here without, you know, without things and stuff. I'm doing a bad job of explaining anything. Now, we're not applying any debuffs here other than... Here, let me just pause it for a sec, guys. We're not applying debuffs here other than from Jabba, because everything else is forced to, like, they can resist it because they have the high ground. They have their ultimate going. So the reason, to backtrack just a little bit, the reason why I wanted to show you guys this, I wanted to show you, like, what would happen in general against, you know, another good team, and there just wasn't, like, something you might find in GAC or Territory Wars. And, you know, you're not going to find Skywalker on Kenobi teams in either of those. That just doesn't really happen, at least not at any of the levels I've played at. And so This was the best I could find, folks. I do apologize for that. I wish we had something better. So, all right. we can't apply these buffs. I decided to hat throw a few times just because it's fun. It's a fun animation. Remember, when you hat throw with Embo, though, you're making him the weakest because it hurts him. And the weakest does shift from character to character. Jabba is constantly evaluating. He knows if you've been naughty. You know what I'm saying? And, okay, so, yeah, we can use it. Remember, the ult doesn't really do that much to Galactic Legend, though it does full heal your squad, which is nice. And alright, yeah, so let's get to the final part, which is Smuggler's Run here, folks. And we're going to, this is from my alternate account, so these are all way lower relics. I think Krrsantan is relic 8, but then Jabba is 7, everyone else is a 5. And we're still using Embo here because we want him to dispel all the nonsense. And the idea is we really want to kill Range Trooper. I want to show people you can do this so easily without the ultimate. I don't want to use the ultimate. Let's not use the ultimate at all. And this works just fine without it. Because you passively get ultimate charge as you play. As weird as that is. Okay, so throw the thermals here to give that buff immunity to Shore so that he can't taunt for a while. I mean, these guys have a ton of speed, so he's going to be able to taunt soon anyways. But yeah, so we really want to take out range as quickly as we can here. Apparently, though, so we're hitting people who have the thermals on them so that we can work on our contract. Really want our contract because it boosts us in a lot of really, really important ways. You know, we'll be putting more thermals on people. We'll be doing a lot of really cool stuff. Once we get that contract, it's very important to get it. But we have to be able to apply these debuffs. So, okay, like you just follow the thermals. Keep following the thermals. We're at 60%, so, you know, everyone's got hired muscle on them, so everyone's assisting, which is nice. And, I think one thing that I'm not doing here, guys, because it kind of just, it's embarrassing to say, it kind of passed me by until just recently. The Skando and his call to assist also just gives a bonus turn. Like, how do you not notice something like that? But indeed, I did not. You want to take out that range trooper first, though, because as soon as you can, because he's tough to kill. He's tough to kill. Oh, well, he makes everyone else tough to kill with all that protection up. Okay, let's fast forward here for just a minute, folks. Hold on a sec, because this short trooper is just a huge pain. All right, I think I finally capitulated and threw some thermals at Shore. Remember, we're not using our ult. If I was using my ult, I would target that range trooper there just to delete him, because you can ignore taunt and everything. Yeah, you just want to take out the range trooper as quickly as you can. So throw the thermals here. Remember, you get 6 thermals on every person, on every character here, because of Jabba's. You get an extra thermal detonator that he applies for every 20% on his ultimate charge. Yeah, it takes forever to kill Stormtrooper as well, I think, because I don't want to use my thermals, because those thermals are so valuable in the final match, in the final countdown, the final showing. There we go. Got him out, and so remember, we're not using our ult here. Once again, we're not using our ult. And what am I doing with Skando, man? What you doing, bud? I think I was maybe like eating cereal while I was doing this. Yeah, okay, so call Jabba to assist and just target that Dark Trooper. Look at that. We got 6 thermals on everyone here, folks, and they don't have protection. So they take a couple turns. Takes a couple turns for thermals to explode, and then they just take themselves out. Like, you don't, in a way, you don't want to pop your ult, because then you don't get all that crazy impact from thermal detonators that you usually would. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a laugher at this point because of those thermals. Like, you don't want to use your ult in this Smuggler's Run deuce. And I mean, this is basically it, folks. We don't need to keep watching it. I mean, I got all my cool stuff. Let's give you a couple minutes back, shall we? Or do you want? You probably want to see the satisfying conclusion, don't you? There, isn't that satisfying? Look at what you get, though. I mean, it's pretty nice. You get your mod inventory to be capped, and you get all those cool things. Yay! Okay, so let's call it here, folks. Let's go back to. I suppose we can go here. You can mount the algorithm again if you want. It's a really complicated faction, guys. We could honestly spend way more time talking about this faction. Like there is just so many things. It is so complex, and I hope that this gives you a decent overview of things to be keeping in mind. Things of like how to keep Boushh assisting. This team has a lot of nuance to it, and it's a really I'm excited to see eventually we're gonna start getting some people who are just really crazy good with this team and really seeing it work. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to see some people who are good with it, and I think with it's very skill based. And so, anyways, I'm excited to see it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, folks. Do you like Jabba? Do you excited to get him? I'd recommend getting him, guys. You're gonna need him for the raid. You're gonna need him for everything. He is essential everywhere. All right, gonna let you go, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zereth prevails.